Okay, let's unpack this. How do you make a town in your D&D campaign feel less like, just a quick stop on the road, more like a place your players genuinely care about, maybe even want to return to?
Yeah. That's the classic challenge, isn't it? We've all been there, run those towns that are basically an inn, a shop, maybe one NPC with an exclamation point over their head.
Totally. Functional, but kind of forgettable. They feel a bit hollow.
Exactly.
And our deep dive today is really all about filling that hollow space. We're exploring how to craft these immersive, realistic settlements that actually breathe some life into your campaigns. We're pulling a lot of great ideas from this fantastic article on LitRPG Reads by Anna Libansky. She has this great line about how the best towns aren't just dots on a map, they're the beating heart of your setting.
That's such a powerful way to put it, right? She talks about them being like crucibles where adventure isn't just found, it's kind of born there.
Yeah, born there. And they become anchors for the characters, places they build history with. It's like the place itself becomes its own character.
Totally. Feels alive.
So that's the plan. We're going to take a relaxed, hopefully insightful look at the practical advice and creative sparks from this source material. The mission: help you turn that map dot into somewhere unforgettable, somewhere your players actually talk about later.
Where the city, genuinely feels like it's reacting to them.
Right. So where do you even begin with that? The article makes a really crucial point early on. Start with the basics: purpose and scale.
Absolutely. The core idea there is, like you said, cities and towns aren't just fancy wallpaper. They are those crucibles. And the difference between just like a list of features, market, inn, temple, and a place that really pulses with life and possibility is understanding its fundamental why.
Why does this place exist? Was it built as a fortress? Did it pop up around a mine? Maybe it's an artist's commune? That core purpose, it shapes everything.
And right alongside that is scale. Population isn't just some abstract number. The article calls it a living force, which is cool. Think about it. A huge city, 20,000 people versus, say, a tiny mining camp with 70.
Oh, massive difference.
That big city, you've got complex guild politics, maybe different faiths clashing or cooperating, huge markets, a formal city watch. Everyone knows somebody, but nobody knows everybody.
But that little mining camp of 70, that's going to be like fierce loyalty, maybe, simple governance, probably pretty informal, and zero privacy. Everyone knows everyone else's business. One person gets coughed on, the whole camp knows by lunch.
See, purpose and scale, right there, they immediately define the kinds of stories you can tell, the daily problems people face. A tiny fortress of 70 isn't worrying about merchant guild tariffs. They're worried about keeping the pass clear, rationing food for winter.
While a big artist commune might be all about, rival painting schools and bohemian drama.
Exactly, and that difference dictates the infrastructure too. Do they have proper sewers, or is it just tossing buckets into the alley?
Right.
Law enforcement is a professional guard, a militia that really doesn't want to be there, or do they just pay off the local toughs?
Right, or the economy. Is it a sprawling bazaar with goods from everywhere, or just a couple of stalls hoping for business? Even the mood on the street changes. The article really pushes aligning the town's role with your campaign's needs, or maybe even a character's backstory, like a religious enclave that's tied to the cleric's past, or a noisy trading port perfect for the rogue.
And to kind of jumpstart that thinking, the source has this great list of questions to ask before building a town. Simple stuff, but really useful, like a lantern to light every design decision, it says.
Yeah, I like those.
Questions like, who founded it and why? What's its biggest problem right now? And what I really like.
What rumors do outsiders associate with it?
Oh, the rumors one is gold. That can give you your first few hooks before the players even set foot in the place, right?
Totally. They might be totally wrong rumors, but they give the place an instant reputation. Hint that there's more going on. Builds that anticipation. Builds anticipation, yeah. Okay, so purpose and scale set the foundation. What's the next big shaper? The land itself, geography. The article says it's not just flavor text, it's destiny written in earth and sky.
What a line! I love that. It means the landscape isn't just pretty scenery, it actively shapes the town. The buildings, the jobs, the culture, even how people think.
Yeah, think about the examples they gave, like those squat, sturdy buildings in a coastal town that gets battered by storms. They build like that because they remember the storms.
Or the vertical alleys and layers of defense in a mountain fortress. Has to be that way.
Or cities in river deltas where canals are the main streets, everyone's got a boat. Or a desert oasis where everything revolves around protecting that water source.
The constraints and bounties of the landscape, that's the phrase used. That's what drives the town's unique flavor. Surrounded by forests, you get a timber economy, maybe some hidden druid stuff. Stuck on an island. Shipwrights, sure, but maybe weird, isolated beliefs about the sea.
Right. Geography tells you what's easy to get and what's rare. Shapes trade, daily life. It even influences festivals. Maybe they celebrate the big salmon run every year. Architecture adapts. You build differently for constant rain versus scorching sun.
Even superstitions and local slang can tie back to the land, don't whistle near the cliffs, that kind of thing.
The table and the source, comparing different locations, is super helpful for this. Like comparing a river delta town to one in the Arctic tundra.
Oh yeah, totally different worlds.
One's got hooks about maybe sunken ruins, smugglers using the waterways. The other's about, I don't know, the sun vanishing for months or finding ancient things frozen in the ice. Totally different feels, different problems, just because of where they are.
It really helps break that sort of generic fantasy town mold. Roots it somewhere specific.
Makes it feel inevitable. Like, of course this town is like this. Look where it is. Okay, so the land shapes the physical place. Now let's look inside at the people and the power dynamics. Politics. The article calls it the engine of city life. It says power seeps into every street and whisper in every alley.
It's that invisible structure that affects everyone, isn't it? Whether it's a monarchy, a council, a theocracy, maybe a bunch of merchant families running things, or even some secret group pulling the strings behind the scenes. And that system, it decides the laws, who pays taxes, how much, what the general mood is like, and crucially for us, what kinds of adventures might pop up.
Yeah, like a city run by feuding merchant houses.
Okay.
Probably amazing shopping, lots of exotic goods maybe. But good luck feeling safe unless you hire your own muscle. Trust levels.
Right.
Probably rock bottom.
Or a strict military dictatorship.
Yeah.
Streets might be spotless, super safe, but you can just feel that tension underneath, right? Like a rebellion is just waiting to happen.
These power structures, they're not just background details. They open the door to adventure, like the article says. Quests just spin out of noble plotting or corrupt guards or uprisings from the people who have nothing. Creates built-in conflict.
And moving from the structure to the individuals, the real lifeblood of the city, memorable NPCs and factions, these aren't just nameless crowds. They're the beating hearts making the place feel real.
People need goals, right? Secrets, quirks, flaws. They can't all just be standing there waiting to give directions.
Yeah, think about the examples. The cobbler who's secretly fencing stolen goods, the priest who seems super devout but is hiding a forbidden love, their little stories and how they connect to other people and the city's groups, that matters.
And the factions multiply everything. Guilds, cults, secret societies, they all want something. Wealth, power, revenge, some weird ideology. They protect their own, maybe exploit others, creates bigger stakes.
The source has some wonderfully wild ideas here. A ghost-run orphanage, that's amazing. A vampire-run tavern chain, a fae spy pretending to sell flowers.
Come on, those are instant plot hooks right there.
Exactly, they're not just descriptions, they're invitations to explore.
And a really key point made is that the best NPCs and factions aren't static. They react. They grow, they hold grudges, they remember what the players did. That's what makes the city feel responsive, alive.
Yeah, it changes because the players were there, because they made choices.
Their actions aren't just happening in a vacuum. They have real social ripples within that web of city relationships.
Makes their choices feel like they matter more.
Okay, so we've got purpose, land, politics, people. That's a strong foundation. Now let's layer on the more visible stuff. Districts and culture. Dividing a city into districts, it helps with navigation, sure. Gives a sense of layout.
Yeah.
But it also creates different stages for adventure.
Oh yeah. A chase scene through the docks feels totally different than one through the fancy noble quarter. Different obstacles, different witnesses, different atmosphere.
Thinking in layers helps design it too. You've got the market, maybe it's noisy, smells like spices and food, full of gossip. Then the slums, shadowed, maybe desperate but hopeful too. The noble area, big houses, privilege, secrets behind walls, maybe an industrial zone or a quiet temple quarter.
Identifying those zones creates that mental map for the players, makes navigating feel intuitive. running from the thieves' quarter to try and find sanctuary in the main temple. That's instantly dramatic because you understand the shift in environment.
And distinct districts just spark ideas, don't they? Like, what if you have districts that clash? A super high-tech gnome area right next to an ancient traditional elf neighborhood, or a magic university that's slowly buying up and tearing down residential blocks to expand.
Yeah. Each zone can be like its own little mini setting. Just adding a few sensory details helps. What does it smell like here? What colors dominate? What kinds of faces do you see? The source lists some great contrasts. A haunted canal ward versus a magical academy spire versus a lawless underground bazaar. So different.
That leads right into the local flavor piece. Culture, festivals, superstitions. This is described as the thread that binds a city together. The unique stuff, the shared quirks. What makes this place feel like this place?
And the examples are so good for getting the imagination going. Imagine a city that has a parade honoring rats because they supposedly saved the city once. Or a wall where people leave anonymous love letters, street criers having rap battles.
I love that one. Or the tavern that only serves blue drinks because of some old wizard's curse. A ghost walk procession on certain nights. Towns where you whisper secrets to specific whisper trees for luck. Or a market where haggling is seen as deeply offensive.
Little details like that make a place memorable. And religious or magical beliefs weave into. Maybe left-handed magic is considered bad luck here. Or people always leave out little offerings for ancestral ghosts on certain days. Customs like that give players unique ways to interact or maybe mess up.
And flavor isn't just big festivals. It's the everyday stuff too. The specific stink near the tannery. The slang you only hear down by the docks. That persistent rumor about the mayor having a secret third eye or whatever.
Yeah.
The article really encourages you to invite players to engage, taste the weird local fruit, listen to the street performers, participate in a small ritual. That's how they get immersed.
Definitely. Those small personal touches, like the example of the bakery known for its ghost-shaped bread, they often stick with players more than the giant statue in the main square. Feels more authentic somehow.
So, okay, beneath all this structure and the surface flavor, that's where the real juicy stuff often lies. Hooks, secrets, and tensions. The article argues that any town worth exploring needs these hidden layers.
Yeah, those secrets and underlying dangers, that's what keeps players curious, keeps them digging. You gotta plant mysteries. Like the graveyard that's now a park, but people still hear voices sometimes. Or a shrine that grants little miracles, but only if you tell it a lie. Or maybe people keep disappearing around the anniversary of the city's founding.
They're not always big, obvious quests, are they? Just breadcrumbs. Hints that there's more going on.
Exactly. And tension isn't always some ticking bomb about to explode. Sometimes it's a slow burn. Two guilds locked in a silent, passive-aggressive trade war. An entire district that was walled off years ago after something happened, and nobody talks about it. Scandals simmering among the elites. A coming food shortage everyone's trying to ignore.
The key is dropping hints, right? The guard who looks away at just the right moment. A rumor that completely contradicts the official story. Secrets should unravel slowly, maybe. Each answer just raises more questions. The goal, the source says, is that city players feel like they're never quite done exploring.
Keep peeling back layers.
And the list of specific secrets and tensions in the article gives you great places to start, like a black market that's secretly protected by a high-ranking official, an ancient curse tied to some boring-looking relic in the museum, the ruler having a secret twin who's plotting revenge from the slums, a monster living in the underground river that supplies the city's water.
Whoa, yeah. Those are tangible things players can latch onto and investigate. They ensure that even if the party solves one problem, they still feel like there are other mysteries working, other conflicts brewing. Makes the place feel deep.
Okay, let's tie these deeper things back to the functional reality of the place. Economics and day-to-day life. This is the city's flesh and blood. How people make a living that really shapes the town's mood, its prosperity, or its desperation, and it directly feeds adventure.
For sure. Scarcity, trade routes, the class system who can afford the good stuff from the baker, who's scraping by on dock scraps. These economic facts are just fertile ground for quests. The main mine is threatened by monsters. A strange blight is killing the crops. Workers are striking. There's a sudden shortage of, I don't know, healing herbs.
The article connects specific goods to adventures really well, like maybe the city is famous for glassware made from special volcanic sand, but the volcano is starting to rumble. Or salted fish is the main food source, but smugglers are hoarding it to drive up prices. Scribes are sabotaging each other's work. Stuff like that makes the economy feel active, part of the story.
And don't forget the little beats of daily life, as the article calls them. The smell of smoke from a bakery fire at dawn could be an accident, could be arson, could lead to a rescue. The kinds of dirty jobs nobody wants who does them. What does that say about the city? The rituals around the market, bell ringing, small details ground the city, make it feel real, and can suddenly blow up into a whole plot line.
And maybe the most compelling thing, towns that are growing and changing over time. Cities shouldn't just be static places you visit, check off a list, and leave. They should react. They should evolve with the seasons, with politics, and definitely with player actions.
Oh, this is where player agency feels so rewarding. Did the party help make a particular festival a huge success? Maybe it becomes an annual tradition now, bigger than before. Maybe with elements they introduced. Did they clear out monsters from a ruined district? Maybe it gets rebuilt. Maybe even named after them Heroes Quarter or something.
Yeah, or maybe graffiti starts appearing about their deeds, good or bad. A statue goes up honoring an NPC they saved, or maybe mourning one they couldn't. When players see their actions literally changing the map, changing the culture, that builds huge investment.
So tracking those changes, big and small, is really important. Maybe a new law gets passed because of something they did. The guards are different now, fashion trends shift, or bigger things. A noble family falls from power, the city builds new walls, a temple to the party's god gets funding, someone they helped get exiled is allowed back.
The list in the source of ways towns can change due to the players is just full of awesome examples. A relic they recovered becomes the new city symbol. Martial law gets declared after some chaotic event they were central to. Streets or shops get named after the characters. A slum gets revitalized or maybe destroyed, depending on their choices. An enemy faction takes over because the party weakened the existing power structure. A memorial is built. Holidays started or abolished.
It all echoes the player's presence. Their story becomes part of the city's ongoing history. It makes them feel like they have real weight in the world. The city becomes this living thing, evolving every session, encourages players to go back, see what's different.
Makes the city remember them.
Exactly.
The article also gives a quick, useful nod to tools, maps, and aids. Like you don't have to invent every single building from scratch, right?
Definitely not. Generators can be great for sparking initial ideas. Maps are obviously useful for visualizing things, planning encounters, reference sheets for NPCs, tracking rumors.
Yeah.
Whether it's pen and paper or digital tools, they just help manage the complexity.
They speed up prep, support creativity, don't replace it, like the article says.
Use them to get started, flesh things out, keep track of all the moving parts.
And the final thoughts in the piece really circle back nicely. Great cities are basically dynamic characters in your campaign. You got to balance the realism, the daily grind, the money stuff with the drama, the secrets, the politics, the adventure.
And crucial advice. Don't feel you need every single detail mapped out from day one. Let the city grow organically through play. Let player actions shape it. Let your own ideas evolve. It becomes their home base, yeah, but also a mystery box, an engine for stories that they help fuel by their choices, their needs, even their screw-ups.
And embrace the contradictions. That pious city with a totally corrupt underworld. The big trade hub where all magic is strictly forbidden. The fortress built on tolerance that has one day a year where all laws are suspended. Those inconsistencies, they make a place feel real, and they're instant story hooks.
Cities should collect scars, trophies, inside jokes from past adventures, new traditions that started because of the players. That's what gets players attached. That's what makes them want to come back.
So yeah, the big takeaway from digging into this, thanks to LitRPG Reads, building towns players really care about. It's about layering all that stuff. Purpose, geography, people, politics, culture, secrets, but maybe most importantly, letting the city live and breathe and change because the players are part of its story now.
It's about turning those little dots on the map into places they won't just visit, but places they'll remember, places they'll talk about, places they actually feel connected to long after the campaign is over.
Seriously, we have to give a warm shout out to LitRPG Reads for this article. It laid things out so clearly, very inspiring stuff. And a specific thank you to the author, Anna Lubansky, really brilliant insights. And hey, a friendly nod also to Paul Bello, who's mentioned in the author bio. Sounds like he runs a great site over there at LitRPG Reads, fostering these kinds of deep dives. Excellent resource.
Absolutely. Really makes you think differently about building your world settlements, more than just backdrops.
Definitely. So here's a final little thought for you to chew on, thinking about your own campaigns. If a city is truly a character, like Anna Lubansky suggests, what's its deepest, most hidden fear? And how might your players accidentally stumble upon it and bring it bubbling to the surface?
Ooh, That's a good one. A city's secret anxiety.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We'd love to hear your own tricks for building towns, maybe some weird cultural detail you're proud of, or just the most memorable city or village you ever encountered in a game, player, or GM. Let us know.